omnia in numeris cita sunt. Everything lies veiled in numbers. Foreword by Faith Javane. Many of my students and a number of people who have heard my lectures have expressed a desire for a complete textbook on numerology so that they could study their own life patterns in depth. Until now, I have neglected this responsibility, hoping that my classes would be sufficient. Also, I felt such a project to be beyond possibility. However, pressures have convinced me that a full-length text would be both acceptable and fulfilling. My study of numerology began in the spring of 1938. I found a teacher of astrology who insisted that before she would accept me as a student, I must study numerology. Since I very much wanted to study with her, I agreed to start with the numbers. Her approach to numerology, however, was like none other. She had received it in a unique way, from what she called the inner planes, which meant that she went outside her body to a mystical school for her instruction. She called this work Kabbalah because it had come to her through the mind and soul rather than from a flesh and blood teacher, or from a book. Kabbalah refers to secret information in symbolic form, whether in a numerical, verbal, or hieroglyphic pattern. The biblical books of Ezekiel, Enoch, and Ezra contain mystical revelations of hidden knowledge, including speculation about the mystical import of numbers and letters. The Kabbalist knew how to decode the esoteric messages in the scriptures. I admit to some skepticism about my teacher's beliefs, but I went along with her teaching. What she revealed we now call the divine triangle. It was known in the Pythagorean school, about 6th century BC, as the life theorem, and it is now commonly accepted as the proposition that the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Pythagoras used the right triangle as a representation of the universe. It was his eureka. According to my teacher, the master KH, whom she believed to be Pythagoras reincarnated.
Listen, if you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did, and that's
Taught her that the right triangle could also be made to symbolize the world of an individual. This startling revelation is the original basis for the method of numerological delineation of the life pattern of an individual described in this book. In answer to many requests, I now present to you the secret of the divine triangle. Foreword by Dusty Bunker. In any profession, one is invariably asked the question, when did you become interested in? I have pondered that question long and deeply and now realize that it cannot be answered simply. There is no given moment when one thing ends and another begins. A great thunderbolt from heaven did not strike the ground before my feet, etching words in flame, pronouncing my destiny. Nor did I proclaim at noon on a Sunday, I am going to begin now. It just happened, naturally and with little fanfare. Metaphysics is as much a part of me as breath itself. As I studied over the years in one discipline or another, information began to fall into place more and more easily. Just as a child struggles to achieve balance upon those tiny feet, I struggled with many concepts and experiences until I found the proper balance. As the work progressed, the steps became easier and more natural. Now, this philosophy I embrace so respectfully has become my love, my life, and my devotion. I could speculate that it began eons ago in Lemuria or Mu or Atlantis, or in the ancient initiation chambers of the Great Pyramid, or even in the sacred halls of the Lyceum with my beloved Pythagoras. Perhaps we do carry deep within our souls memories of past existences that eventually surge into our present incarnations, demanding fulfillment. Certainly, child prodigies are living proof of this possibility. Whatever the impetus driving us into certain professions, we seem to be inextricably bound to continue an evolution that some primal recollection tells us we have begun. I have been most fortunate along that path, for I was given the greatest of all privileges, a true teacher, that rare and much sought-after creature. In a pupil-teacher relationship, I met Faith, co-author of this book, in 1975. The relationship grew into a bond of respect, admiration, and love. We presented our first book on May 1st, 1976, and have now completed this, our second book, inspired by the knowledge that there is a great searching in people's hearts today, a need to comprehend the vast inner spaces as well as the outer spaces. Through this book, we believe we can help fill that void with logic, reason, understanding, and love. Through the sacred science of numerology, truths can be gleaned and souls can be set at rest. Go with us then and discover your inner self, your reasons for being, and the eternal splendor of the spirit. Introduction. There is an order in the universe, from the atom to the solar system. Awakening interest in the rhythm of this order has called forth new efforts to synthesize the different methods used throughout the ages to understand it. Somewhere between the microcosmic and the macrocosmic, we look for the key that can put our world into logical perspective. We believe that the science of numbers can provide formulae which help clarify the evolving pattern of existence on Earth. Enough ancient wisdom has survived the vicissitudes of time to suggest some basis on which to build new methods of analyzing personality, or at least to cast new light on the systems used in the past. Our methods, while containing the element of mystery, yet proceed in an orderly and practical way, using the numbers involved in names and birth dates to solve the enigmas of individuality, personality, and the patterns of function and fate carried through life by every human being. We invite you to experiment with this combination of ancient formulae and modern application. While it has not been presented to our knowledge in any book, it has been verified by 30 years of actual application and successful experience. The divine triangle, used as a blueprint of one's life, reveals, step by step, from birth to death, what that life should express, indicating the potentials and pitfalls by a series of numbers from 1 to 78. We are all born at a certain date, hour and minute into the Earth's field of energy. The conditions and vibrations of that energy field determine to a great extent the particular actions and reactions that will characterize our entire lives. We are conditioned by the basic set of vibrations that were active when we took our first breath. The birth date provides the pattern which we call the life lesson. The name given at birth, transcribed into numbers by use of the number-letter code used since ancient times and described in this book, provides the three vibrations we call the soul number, the outer personality number, and the path of destiny, number of a given individual. And by placing the name and birth date formula on the blueprint of the divine triangle, we are provided with the key to the incarnation a soul has chosen for the attainment of certain goals. Your numbers tell the state of consciousness which you have reached and record the growth of your soul as well. One's personal numbers are not isolated clues, but like all phenomena, are interlocking pieces in the vast puzzle of existence. Therefore, for the benefit of those who wish to broaden their understanding of numerology, this book seeks to synthesize it with the sciences of astrology and the tarot. To go into the vast and deep correspondences among the three sciences would require volumes. We are simply pointing out certain relationships that we have verified over many years. This book is divided into two parts. Part 1 presents the origins and philosophy of numerology. It explains how to determine the numbers that govern your existence and how to make a blueprint of your life by placing these numbers on the form called the divine triangle. There is also a chapter entitled More with Numbers, which shows you how to find the right career or determine your compatibility with someone else. A case study of Edgar Cayce, the beloved and well-known psychic who has been called the sleeping prophet, follows to illustrate the use of the divine triangle. Lastly, Part 1 presents a look at number symbology in the Bible, both in the Old and the New Testament. Part 2 of the book presents delineations of the numbers 1 through 78. Until now, numerology has been limited to the use of the digits 1 through 9 and a few double numbers ranging into the 20s. The number 78 was not chosen at random. Rather, it represents a total experience. The number 12 incorporates the basic 1 through 9 cycle, with an additional 3 steps in which to use the learned experience of the 1 through 9 cycle and bring it out to be shared with others for their benefit. It represents the 12 months of the year and indicates a complete cycle, a whole, a circle, as also exemplified in the 12 signs of the zodiac and the 12 disciples. The next step, 13, takes us into a new level of consciousness, Therefore, 78, as an extension of 12, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 equals 78, symbolizes a complete round of experience. In the delineations in Part 2, the 78 numbers are fully described as numerical vibrations. They are also synthesized with the 78 tarot keys and the planets, signs, and decans of the zodiac. As this amazing synthesis unfolds, one can only stand in awe before God's work. Only a cosmic mind could have planned such an intricate pattern in which each science dovetails so exquisitely with the other. We repeat that to our knowledge, this synthesis has never been attempted. The correspondences among numerology, astrology, and the tarot were not chosen at random. They have been tested through years of research and application. We believe they are accurate. We suggest that you try them for yourself, for it is only through personal verification that any belief or process is truly accepted. 1. Esoteric numerology. Numerology began when life began because in the beginning there was one. The vibrations then began and the two appeared, the first pair, and ushered in the real beginning of universal geometry. Numbers, by themselves, represent universal principles through which all things evolve and continue to grow in cyclic fashion. The digits 1 through 9 symbolize the stages through which an idea must pass before it becomes a reality. All manifestation is the result of these 9 stages. Esoteric numerology is the art and science of understanding the spiritual significance and orderly progression of all manifestation. Every word or name vibrates to a number, and every number has its inner meaning. The letter and number code, when rightly understood and applied, brings us into a direct and close relationship with the underlying intelligence of the universe. We owe much of our spiritual and scientific understanding of numbers to Pythagoras, the father of mathematics. Pythagoras is most commonly remembered for the Pythagorean theorem, which states that the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. However, Pythagoras was primarily a mystic and a philosopher. He believed that all things are numbers, and that numbers represent spiritual entities whose presence is felt in all existence.
Sexually abused in a San Bernardino or San Diego County youth facility, significant compensation may be available. More than 100 individuals have come forward with allegations of sexual abuse at these facilities. Some were as young as 11 when they were allegedly abused by probation officers. After California passed a new law in 2019 that significantly extended the statute of limitations for child sexual abuse lawsuits, more and more survivors of sexual abuse are coming forward daily to seek justice and compensation. Did it happen to you or to someone you know? Click the Learn More button now and complete the free and confidential incident report and find out if you qualify for financial compensation.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu.
He discovered the mystical significance of numbers, noting that the numbers 1 through 9 stand, macrocosmically, for universal principles. On the personal level, microcosmically, they stand for characteristics, abilities, and events. He saw in number patterns and geometrical ratios the explanations of all natural phenomena, musical harmony, and tonal qualities. He knew that the stars and planets as vibrating bodies produce sound which became known as the music of the spheres. Pythagoras was born around 582 BC on the Greek island of Samos in the Aegean Sea. As a young man, he left home and traveled to Egypt, where he was initiated into certain mathematical doctrines. He is also reported to have studied with Zoroaster, the Persian sage, and to have learned the Kabbalah in Judea. The science of numbers he eventually taught was based on Kabbalistic principles. Pythagoras finally settled in Crotona in southern Italy and established a school of the mysteries. Before his students could proceed into the Pythagorean mysteries, they had to know the 4 sciences of arithmetic, music, astronomy, and geometry. Plato was a follower of Pythagoras. and it is to him that we owe most of our knowledge of the Pythagorean school. Pythagoras taught that evolution is the law of life, number is the law of the universe, unity is the law of God. He believed that everything in the universe was subject to predictable progressive cycles. His means of measuring these cycles were the numbers 1 through 9. He also taught that numbers have a significance apart from the values denoted by the figures. Numbers are different from figures. Numbers represent qualities. Figures represent quantities. Numbers operate on the spiritual plane, while figures are for measuring things on the material plane. A lucid understanding of these digits is essential in the study of numerology because every number over 9 ultimately reduces to one of these digits. With a comprehensive knowledge of the meaning of these numbers, one can understand the orderly progression of all life cycles. The numbers 1 through 9. Science claims that in a vacuum where nothing exists, in time hydrogen ions spring into existence. 1, as the first digit in the series, represents the ion, the beginning, the genesis, the first spark of energy emerging from the original source. It stands alone and isolated because it is the first. There is no other. It is independent of outside influences or assistance because it has chosen to seek its own self-expression and cannot therefore be encumbered or swayed. It is decisive and independent and makes the choices necessary to ultimately determine its destiny. 1 represents the male principle, the yang. It is the pioneer, striking out alone, seeking the experiences which will establish its distinct identity. It is in the process of discovering its own abilities. It is raw energy, positive, original and creative, in a state of perpetual motion. Since one is alone and is imbued with so much creative energy, it must decide how its energy will be used. It must take command and have the courage to maintain its direction without fear of opposition. 1 is the real I am of humanity, the unity of all, the unit of vibrational measuring. It is self-consciousness. Keywords: original, independent, aggressive, individualistic, creative, dominant. The first in a series, the start of any operation or activity, the leader, the pioneer, the boss who likes authority, he who goes forth. 2 is the pair, the duo. It is changeable and adaptable, and can also be indecisive. It is the agent, the go-between, the diplomat and peacemaker, because unity can only be accomplished through a meeting of the minds, a compromise on each side. 2 represents the feminine principle of receptivity, the yin, which seeks a union of 2 distinct entities. It is the gestation period in which things begin to form. 2 collects and assimilates. It seeks a balance between opposing forces, and therefore represents cooperation, attachment, and partnership. It is the peacemaker, with an avid attention to detail. Because 2 is so keenly aware of opposites, it has a pronounced sense of rhythm and harmony. Music appeals to its sympathetic and emotional nature. The maternal, patient, and sensitive characteristics of 2 cause it to place others first, before itself. Union is its goal, not separateness. Therefore, it is obedient to and understanding of others. It seeks harmony and assimilation above all. The hydrogen ions which sprang into existence under 1 are now hurtling through space. They will be drawn toward one another by the law of mutual attraction, or the law of number 2. Keywords: adaptable, tactful, understanding, gentle, cautious, a follower rather than a leader. 3 combines the qualities of 1 and 2. It is a fascinating and diversified vibration, carrying the qualities of manifestation and self-expression. The ion, which sprang into existence from 0, sought to assert its individuality under 1 and felt the attraction of others under 2, now awakens to its need for social interaction. 3 is the need to communicate and become involved in the pure joy of living. Through its exuberant response to life, 3 bestows sunny radiance and enthusiasm upon all. 3 is the extrovert, whose personal magnetism draws others and inspires them to expand and grow. It is the performer who possesses an innate appreciation of pleasure, romance, art, and beauty. Its creative imagination allows all things to be possible. It therefore becomes involved in many emotions and experiences. 3 is friendly and expansive, thriving on sociability and variety. If any of the numbers could be called happy-go-lucky, it would be the effervescent 3. Keywords: expansive, sociable, dramatic, communicative, diversified, creative. 4 is stability, a 4-square consciousness, the symbol of law, system, and order. It is firmness, security, stability, and conservatism. It is the builder who must submit to earthly things where form and substance are the predominant elements. 4 is nature and relates to the earth. The formation of the earth took place on the 4th day in the biblical story of creation. The attraction the ions felt under 2 led to interaction under 3. Now, under 4, the inevitable concentration of energies occurs. Formation takes place. The ions realize that they can no longer scatter their energies, but must now begin to place them in a productive, orderly system. 4 therefore develops a practical nature, and through self-discipline, binds itself to a conventional routine exercise of its energy. Keywords: form, work, order, practicality, construction, stability, endurance, discipline. 5 is freedom, change, and adventure. Curiosity and constant activity produce a resourceful, adaptable, and versatile entity, always ready to take a chance. Since 5 is the midpoint in the cycle 1 through 9, it allows for decision-making. It might be called the pivotal point in which the ions, now encased in flesh and form, must decide upon their future in the rest of the cycle 6 through 9. It now meets with many opportunities and varieties of experience through which it will be given the information it needs to make that decision. 5 is involved in much superficial interaction with groups and crowds. Because of its past varied experiences, it is the natural promoter and advertiser, fluent in communications, with a little information about a lot of things, and a desire to travel here and there to communicate it. 5 attracts the opposite sex because of an irresistible magnetism, and this attraction sets the stage for the domestic responsibilities which naturally follow under 6. Keywords: versatility, resourcefulness, adaptability, change, activity, travel, adventure, promotion, speculation. 6 is conscientious. It desires to bring harmony, truth, justice, and a sense of balance into its environment. Love and compassion are uppermost in its mind, and it can therefore be an effective teacher, counselor, or healer. Others are drawn to it because of the understanding which emanates from it. The ions, under 5, had the opportunity to experience many events and emotional encounters. They are now ready to take on social and family responsibilities, or the 6 vibration. 6 is a domestic and artistic vibration, and under this number, the ions must adjust to the needs of others. The 6 desires a close companion, marriage, and a home and family where beauty and harmony prevail. A need for group harmony and service to the community follows naturally. 6 settles down, blending into the conservative element of the community, where it can create better standards of living. Gifted in the arts, it can also express its creative potential through its developed sense of balance and become a fine artist in its own unique field. Keywords: family and social responsibility, service, love, compassion, counseling, healing, creativity. 7 seeks answers. It tries to establish a philosophy by which to live and attempts to penetrate the mystery behind its existence, which it has never questioned to this point. Because solitude is necessary for analysis, the 7 feels the need to spend time alone, away from the crowds, in touch with nature. It looks for friendship with those of an elevated consciousness that can match its own. And on the 7th day, God rested. All things rest under the 7 because time is needed in which to think. The ions under 7 feel poised and calm. They realize that they now need to be still and to know. They have established a routine for their energy, and now analysis begins. 7 ushers into the cycle a physical completion without apparent effort. Goals that have been long sought are now magically attained. Spare time is available in which philosophical and metaphysical interests can be pursued. Perfected thinking is the goal of 7, which is why it is called the sacred number. It is also why scientists, philosophers, teachers, mystics, and the clergy come under this influence. The physical facet of 7 also relates to the health of the body, which is highly sensitized through this vibration. Keywords: quiet, introspective, intuitive, analytical, inspirational, reclusive, philosophical, mystical. 8 will assume power, for it now has achieved control and responsibility in its chosen field. Recognition and financial rewards are bestowed, and expansion and growth in the business world take place. Under 8, karma is king, and the ions will reap what they have sown. Power is the quality associated with 8. Ardor, zeal, steadfastness, and the ability to see in broad terms give it the ambition and added qualities needed to achieve material goals. 8 has the drive to overcome all obstacles and eventually to succeed through ability and perseverance. 8 can now go to the very top with the ideas and plans that have been formulated gradually during the last 7 cycles. Through fair and ethical standards, good judgment, and organizational abilities, it will achieve recognition, power, and financial remuneration. Keywords: power, responsibility, financial rewards, good judgment, recognition.
2025 IRS tax forgiveness now has open enrollment. It's easy to qualify. Get up.
9 is selflessness and compassion. Encompassing a love for all, it desires to apply its energy to universal service. It bestows an impersonal but just view of life, one that is generous, benevolent, and patient. This is the artist and thinker who has developed skills through the preceding cycles and is now ready to share his or her knowledge with the rest of the world. The ions are in their final state of completion. They have traveled the entire cycle of 9 parts, ingesting experiences along the way. Now in the closing cycle, they reach a total understanding and tolerance of others' views and prejudices. 9 is ready to give back to the universe some measure of what it has learned through the 8 previous steps of the cycle. The law of cyclicity allows for no waste and demands input for output. When this is done willingly, the completion experienced under 9 brings only joy at the gift of life and the freedom with which to enter the next cycle unencumbered. Keywords: love, compassion, patience, universality, tolerance, selfless service, endings. 2. Your personal numbers and personal years. You are endowed at birth with your own 4 personal numbers. These numbers tell you the lessons to be learned during your life and the spiritual growth and development which you can attain. The 4 personal numbers are the life lesson number, the soul number, the outer personality number, and the path of destiny number. Your personal numbers are determined by the numbers in your birth date and the letters in the name you are given at birth. To arrive at the numerical vibration of names, each letter in the alphabet is given a number value. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and so on to Z, which is 26. To work with the value of the letters beyond I, which is number 9, we reduce the value to a single digit. For example, L is number 12. We reduce the 12 by adding the first digit to the second, or 1 plus 2 equals 3. The number 12 is then written as 12/3. The letter T is 20. We reduce the 20 by adding the first digit to the second, or 2 plus 0 equals 2. The number 20 is then written as 20/2. The table below gives the number value of each letter in the alphabet. Learn this code thoroughly. Then you won't have to keep referring to the table, which can be a slow and tedious process. The more you work with the code, the easier it will come to you. Notice that there are patterns you can learn. For example, A, J, and S all reduced to 1, B, K, and T reduced to 2, C, L, and U reduced to 3, and so on. Train yourself by saying over and over, AJS, 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 BKT, BKT, BKT. There are memory tricks you can use. For instance, number 6 is Fox. That's an easy one. GPY sounds something like Gypsy for number 7, and number 8, HQZ, might remind you of headquarters. Use your own memory pegs so that the code will be readily accessible when working out the value of words. We can reduce any word to a number vibration by using our table. So let's experiment with a few words before we begin with names. Place the number value above each letter, add the values, and reduce the total to a single digit if necessary. There are 4 double digits which are not generally reduced. These are called the master numbers. Master numbers offer more opportunity for expression, and thus demand more effort from the individual or thing in question. The master numbers are 11, 22, 33, and 44. Whenever you arrive at one of these numbers, retain the master number value. For instance, take the word light. 3 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 2 equals 29, and 2 plus 9 equals 11. Because light vibrates to master number 11, it is written as 29/11 rather than 29/2, which would be the case if we reduced it entirely. However, 2 is still acknowledged as the base number, and the word in question will fluctuate between the vibrations of 2 and 11. An individual will fluctuate between any master number and its base digit, because the vibration of the master number is so intense and so powerful that it cannot be lived under continuously. Therefore, living under the base number for a brief period offers a moment of respite, where one gathers one's forces before attempting to work with the master number vibration again. Master numbers demand the greatest output from the individual, and in return, offer the greatest reward. A name that vibrates to a master number is Melanie May Clark, which equals 65/11. Again, this number would not be reduced further because it is a master number. However, this individual will fluctuate between her master number 11 and the base number 2. The word roses vibrates to 22. 9 plus 6 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1 equals 22. We do not reduce the 22 because it is a master number. In this system of numerology, we only use the numbers 1 to 78 for reasons which we explained in the introduction. When totaling a name, if you arrive at a number above 78, simply reduce that number to the next lower double digit or single digit, as the case may be. For example, if a personal number totals 86, add the 8 plus 6 and work with the 14/5 vibration. Or if the personal number totals 106, add the 1 plus 0 plus 6 and work with the 7 vibration. Remember, all double digits that reduce to the same base number have the same basic meaning. The double digit reflects a variation of the single number. You could liken this to living in the same city, but on different streets. Therefore, the numbers 12, 21, 30, 39, 48, 57, 66, and 75 all reflect the basic 3. However, the double digit expresses a variation of the original 3. Now that you know how to reduce any word, we will demonstrate how to arrive at your 4 personal numbers and explain what those numbers mean. The life lesson number. The first of the 4 personal numbers we will discuss is called the life lesson number. It represents the lessons you must learn in this lifetime, and is most significant in your choice of a career. It is derived from your full birth date. Even a business or idea has a moment of birth, and can therefore be treated in the same way. We will use as an example Ada Wynne Lunt, born November 12, 1940. First, reduce the birth date to numbers. November is the 11th month, therefore Ada's birth date is written 11-12-1940. Remember to write the full year of birth, not an abbreviated form such as 40. Next, reduce the year to a double digit by adding the year through once. 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 0 equals 14. Now we total the birth date once more. 11 plus 12 plus 1940 equals 11 plus 12 plus 14. 11 plus 12 plus 14 equals 37/1. 37 is reduced by adding the first digit to the second, or 3 plus 7, which equals 10. Reduce the 10 in the same manner by adding 1 plus 0. 37 is then written as 37/1. This is Ada's life lesson number. The life lesson number is a constant and cannot be changed or modified in any way because it is derived from the birth date. It indicates vocation, plus the lesson you came into incarnation to overcome or to learn. It also represents the cosmic gift you are given in order to accomplish your destiny. Find your life lesson number by following the same procedure. Then read the delineation of the life lesson number single digit below. For a finer delineation of the double digit, go to part 2 of this book. In our example, Ada has a 37 or 1 life lesson number. She would read number 1 under the life lesson number section following. She would then turn to part 2, page 120, for the delineation of the 37. a more explicit description of the basic number one. One as the life lesson. You must learn to be original, strong-willed, creative, and innovative. You should have the courage and drive to go ahead into new fields of expression and be a pioneer. You should always go forward, never turn back. At times, you may be dictatorial and stubborn because you do not like to be restricted or directed. You are a good executive and work best alone. You are usually efficient and well organized. You are not naturally domestic but can manage well in any situation. You usually like sports and athletics and enjoy the thrill of winning. You are sophisticated, not emotionally romantic, and always appear at the head of social and commercial groups. By learning the lessons of number one, you become intimately familiar with the God energy, that probing, seeking, independent spark that moves all creation. You are creative on the physical plane because your pioneer spirit precedes all others and expresses your unique individuality. 2. As the life lesson. You are here to learn to become a good mixer. You are a good salesperson, more persuasive than forceful. You should be a support for those in the leadership role, help them to find their goals in life, and remain behind the scenes if necessary. This quality can be a help to you in business because those who benefit from your talents will in turn help you make use of your abilities. In partnerships and groups, you will encounter the lessons you came to learn in this lifetime. Success is then very possible. You must have consideration for others and should bring people together for a common cause. Various professions are open to you as you learn to be adaptable to most things that need to be done. You could select a career in finance, music, medicine, religion, or statistical analysis and research. 3. As the life lesson. You are best in intellectual, artistic, or creative endeavors. You need to express, to manifest, and to see the results of your work. Beauty, fruitfulness, luxury, and pleasure are your keywords. You should have ambition and pride. You must become conscious of the law, and by being an excellent disciplinarian, you will achieve a position of authority over others. 3 combines the daring of 1 with the caution of 2. It is a number of self-expression and freedom, and is extravagant in using energies to gain freedom. You must guard against becoming a jack of all trades. Rather, you should specialize. You could then be successful in artistic, religious, or inventive pursuits.
If you haven't exercised in years, you have to start small with my beginner-friendly Tai Chi class. 3 reasons every man over 40 should start doing Tai Chi workout today. 1. It's one of the only workouts proven to help you live longer. Seriously, it's backed by science. 2. Just 1 week in, and you'll notice the difference. Less stiffness, better balance, and more energy, even after long days. 3. No gym, no gear, no pressure. Just 7 calm minutes a day, right at home. It's simple, it works, and it might just change the way you age. Start now. Your future self will be glad you did.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
Hey, we're How Ridiculous, 3 childhood friends and digital content creators that do epic stuff from Perth, Australia.
We've got about 50 million followers. We're in the billions.
You should never do routine work because you dislike restriction. You should work alone for the best results. Business partnerships become too disciplined for your freedom-loving nature. You could write, lecture, teach, or find your niche in journalism. Whatever you decide to specialize in, you must use your creative and inspirational talents. 4. As the life lesson. You must build a solid foundation on which to base your life. This demands a well-ordered system of conduct and morals. Administration or some sort of management would be the best type of employment for you. You want your home life to conform to the culture in which you live. You will provide well for those within your care, and you expect them to respond with respect and dignity. You should become a diligent worker and honestly earn your success. By being thrifty, you will have an adequate savings account as security against any possible losses. You should learn not to take a chance unless it is a sure bet. You should seek high goals. You might want to achieve concrete results quickly, and therefore should strive for patience and perseverance. Learn to face reality and base all your efforts on sound, practical reasoning. 5. As the life lesson. Your key word is freedom. If you have free rein, you can accomplish wonders, but if you feel bound or limited, you lose your enthusiasm and accomplish little. You would be a good explorer or Peace Corps volunteer, as you learn well by travel and experience. You are a diligent student if interested in the subject, but you may fail in subjects for which you see no useful ends. You should be eager for new experience and shun monotony. In your quest for knowledge, you will become interested in discovering answers in books and magazines. An avid reader, a fluent talker, and a versatile doer, you are the witty conversationalist and brighten any group by your mere presence. You are here to learn and to experience the value of freedom, and should not tie yourself down too severely. Your talents, once learned, prepare you for a literary career or a position in sales and dealing with the public. 6. As the life lesson number. You are here to learn a sense of responsibility for your family and community. 6 is the love and domestic vibration, and requires that you be responsive to the social needs of others. A fine sense of balance must be acquired so that you can equalize injustices. This keen sense bestows artistic abilities as well as judgmental talents which can be utilized in the legal system. You should develop the compassion and understanding necessary to ease the burdens of those who will naturally be drawn to you. You are among those who serve, teach, and bring comfort to humanity. A wide choice of professions is yours, including nursing, teaching, welfare work, the ministry, medicine, restaurant enterprises, the legal profession, and possibly veterinary or animal husbandry. You may also choose to enter a career in the arts, interior decorating, or hairdressing. 7. As the life lesson. You are here to use and to develop your mind. Your words should be full of wisdom when you decide to talk. Your strong intuition helps in any line you choose and gives insight when needed. You may be an enigma to others and even to yourself at times. You like to read, think, and meditate. Many times you have to rely on your soul force to solve difficult material problems. You may delve into the occult, the mysterious, and the phenomenal side of life. Music and other arts are in harmony with your keynotes. You may be drawn to the church, science, or research and analysis. A career in mathematics or investigation could hold your interest. You should learn to spend time by yourself, in the woods or by the seashore, where you can get in touch with your inner self and your deepest thoughts, because your destiny is to use your mind. 8. As the life lesson number. This is the number of power and ambition, the number of the executive, the boss, who lives by brain and brawn. You will learn to work and will want to see everyone else working. You can push people to become successful in their own right. You should lead and show by example how to profit in business. You are here to learn to handle power, authority, and money. You can build a business empire and should work to that end. You want success for your family and for the family name as a matter of pride. You want your offspring to carry on your name with honor and dignity. Sports is another field open to you, as this number vibration bestows great strength and endurance. Many famous athletes operate under an 8. 9. As the life lesson number. You should be the universal lover of humanity, patient, kind, and understanding. You are at the peak of life's expression and must turn and show others the way. You seem to receive wisdom from above. Thus you know that the true way of happiness is in service to others. You are the marrying type, strong in passion and compassion. You easily acquire money or wealth and know how to preserve it. You are never petty, but deal in broad concepts and can attain success in the face of difficulties. You are here to show others the way through your breadth of thinking. You can choose from many professions. Education and medicine are the most usual. You may become an orator, writer, or lecturer with equal ease. Communication, foreign service, statesmanship, and leadership positions are easily within your capacity. 11. As the life lesson.